There was an episode of The Twilight Zone called The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. It was about a small town that becomes so convinced there is a monster in their midst that everyone leaps at the chance to be the one that finds it. No action becomes unwarranted, the ends justify the means, and it concludes with everyone being completely rabid, consumed by their own malformed definition of what justice should be at even the slightest provocation or perceived wrong. Either way, on an unrelated note, let's talk about the Omori community.
Today, I'm facing the world, facing whatever that future might hold for me, please. You may try all you want, I just don't give a damn, and never will, because fam, I take life as it is. Anything's easy when my heart's believing in me. Come rain or come shine, I'm facing the world and I'm gonna survive.
If you're watching this and you dislike me for one reason or another, that's okay. In fact, I'm surprised you made it this far. Thanks for watching despite that. But I do still think you're going to get a lot of value out of this video. I don't think you'll get value because it'll change your mind about me, although that would be nice. But regardless of what you think about me, even if you're hate watching this video right now, you're going to learn about someone in the Omori community so vile, so putrid, and devoid of human empathy that you'll be safer having known about them. A person so obviously evil that it doesn't matter what you think about Sunflower or any divisive issue in the Omori corner of online discourse. You'll probably agree this person has to go. No, you haven't heard of them, yet they could be in your Discord server as we speak. We'll be getting to them before long, but some context is in order first. Here's a recap of Omori on the slim chance you're watching this and don't know much about the game. Omori is a video game about 6 children. This has made a lot of people online very angry and sad. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's begin. On February 20th, 2023, a video was uploaded by a popular Omori YouTuber named Fade called Omori Fandom Has a Big Problem. Fade talks about content recently made by a prominent Omori community member, so apparently egregious the entire fandom imploded. In the video, you see Omori characters, most of whom are children, using weapons on each other, an act so taboo even GTA doesn't let you do it. Truly horrific stuff. Of course, the footage in the video wasn't the problem actually, it was merely background imagery while Fade talked. If anything, it was used as comic relief. No one's really gotten mad about this ever. The issue people had was with a drawing that wasn't ideal for the workplace by popular Omori artist Mozzaremi, or Remi, who was not typically known to draw such things. The characters in question were Sunny and Hiro, one of which is a minor. This caused a planet-wide Omori-themed explosion bigger than whatever took the dinosaurs out. Lots of you watching probably caught wind of this and thought, that doesn't sound like something I want to be involved with. I'm gonna go ahead and unfollow that person. Maybe I'll even tell my friends to unfollow that person. Simple, right? Not quite. A good chunk of Omori Twitter heard about this news and immediately decided that there was some combination of Chris Hansen and Batman. These people had taken the words guilt by association to another black space and took their shunning outside of just the artist himself and to everyone in proximity. Perhaps you had taken a 12-hour break from Twitter, an almost unknown occurrence in today's landscape, missed the whole saga, and were still following Remi after all the drama happened. Well, too bad, my friend. If you're caught following anyone Omori-related that's disliked, you're marked now. A complete villain. You may as well have drawn those pictures yourself. Any semi-normal person will tell you that this line of thinking is about as good as the pizza man's handwriting, yet there was some irreparable damage done to people who had nothing to do with this kind of Omori art. I should make it clear at this point before continuing that this video isn't necessarily about Omori community members that are deemed infamous. It's been talked about so much across YouTube and social media, it'd be like making a video on how Marvel isn't good anymore. Also, I don't harbor any ill will towards Fade or the developers of the fan game at the beginning of the video. Rather, my goal is to prove prove to you watching this video that the Omori community is a hollowed out watermelon that looks vibrant and inviting on the outside, but is absolutely wretched to the core, infested with so many creepy crawlies we don't have a word for some of them yet. What happened here with Remi could be considered a second Big Bang for the Omori corner of the internet, and it would lead to the rise of a villain in this space that you haven't heard of, even though he's caused so much misery. Writing this video was a stressful affair, as I had to relive a lot of these memories, but I owe it to both myself and my viewers to complete this video and call attention to a lot of the issues that are in this community. Just so you know, I'm going to be using a lot of loose YouTube-friendly language in this video so I don't make Susan mad. I'm sure you guys know how the game goes at this point, but just in case you're wondering why my vocabulary is out there sometimes, that's why. Collateral damage was the norm, not the exception, in a post-Remi world. Following his Twitter hiatus, some people really got bludgeoned here. Out of all of the affected who had nothing to do with Omori art not ideal for the workplace of certain characters, few were as targeted and hurt as one artist. A person who has basically taken refuge in a completely different fandom, afraid to even interact with anything Omori related anymore on account of what happened. Staruri was and still is a talented artist who might best be known amongst Omori enjoyers as the person who made those Friday Night Funkin' Omori mods. Provided you were following her, you could see awesome drawings of characters in the game, sometimes memes, just cute or funny, innocent illustrations of Omori and its cast. Great stuff. But Staruri lacked something that many Omori fans possessed, which would catch her completely off guard and ultimately cause her a lot of heartache. Time. Staruri's Twitter screen time was only about a fourth of your average Basil profile picture user. Of course, I'm not referring to anyone with a Basil profile picture that's watching this video right now. Y'all are great. Thing is, having stuff like family, a job, and friends had an unknown consequence for Staruri in the end, as she'd go on to do something unforgivable. She didn't unfollow Remi fast enough. There was an overwhelming amount of hatred thrown at Staruri during this time. Multiple comments, social media accounts, and general evil followed Star for this unforgivable crime. Yet surprisingly, it was all, get this, from one person. One person so dedicated to their Bruce Hansen/Chris Wayne persona that it seemed like he was on a mission to wipe her out of existence. On and on this user went, as if Star was pumping money into Remi's PayPal for every minute she was still affixed to his Twitter. After all, what could her following Remi mean other than that she fully endorsed everything Remi has ever done and said? The anger on display was quite baffling, if anything. Gauging the pettiness, you'd think Staruri had offed this dude's dog or something, but no. It's like this guy just came out of nowhere with a vengeance, like a poorly written villain but in real life. So who was this person exactly? Well, that question brings me to our primary antagonist of today's video, the biggest Boss Store fan in the world, Elgato. As a lot of you know, despite my reputation as an Omori content creator, there are concerning gaps in my knowledge. For example, in one of my videos on the Reverie mod for Omori, I cited the Unbred twins as OCs instead of characters that originated in the game. I also wasn't aware of the air conditioning Easter egg in Humphrey, nor was I privy to every character's age, and oh boy did that last one get me in trouble. That's for later though. Christ almighty, where do we even begin with this guy? I'm not a particularly religious man, but if I was, I'd wager God had sent Elgato to test my sanity. This guy calls out people on the Bird app so much you'd think Elon had monetized his account or something. Elgato's reason for having a Twitter account is very different from mine and likely yours as well. Him being a giant tattletale might initially seem like the main reason he's on here, owed to how angry he gets at everyone who follows an account he doesn't like, but it's actually second fiddle to the real reason he seems to want to use this website. One of the few conclusions I could come to, scrolling through his now privated profile, was that Elgato's main reason for being on Twitter is because he really wants you, the viewer, to know that he is not a PDF file. A surface-level glance at footage from when his main account was open confirms this, as almost every post is him exclaiming that he absolutely does not like them PDF files or their work. In fact, I'd wager he doesn't have any of their albums. And to Elgato I say, fair. In fact, I'll probably get in trouble for this one, but I'll go on record saying I don't like PDF files either, Elgato. In addition to that though, you must admit that making an account dedicated to saying you aren't that thing multiple times every other day seems like it reeks of some sort of insecurity, don't you think? That's just my opinion. Regardless, as I touched on, Elgato made a big habit of targeting basically everyone, be it on Discord or on Twitter, spamming people's comments section to just unfollow that account. It's really not that hard. Things like context, logic, and subtlety aren't really a thing Elgato gets tripped up in, as they only slow him down. Nuanced, considered investigation and giving sound advice aren't the most fun things in the world to do, so rather Elgato finds it more entertaining to change the definition of what problematic means so that he has more targets to go after in the first place. Seriously, this guy thinks he's some sort of superhero. He goes through phases like some sort of RP account. One moment he's Miles Morales using Miles Morales profile pictures and GIFs on every post, and the next he's using Scott Pilgrim pics. It's like seasonal content in an MMO. Again, the level of aggravation is astounding. I don't think there's been any moment in my life where I've had as much hatred in my heart for anyone as Elgato has for one person minding their own business. I've touched on his interactions with Staruri, but why did Elgato get mad at me exactly? What was the patient zero of the Boss Door versus Elgato saga? Well, early on there was this post, pardon the quality. Like I said, his Twitter account is closed now and I had to dig up an old screenshot for this, so I can't enlarge each of these photos. In this post, he says I allowed an Omori artist who draws stuff not ideal for the workplace of certain characters to post that content in my Discord server. His evidence for this is 4 screenshots. Let's break them down one by one. In this screenshot on the top right, there's some sort of Mari-related doodle. It isn't inked, colored, refined. It isn't anything, really. Now, I guess this is supposed to be one of those infamous images, and I hate to harp on anyone's artistic ability, but I genuinely did not know what was going on in this picture. Hence my comment underneath that something was chasing her, trying to find something to say without acknowledging the quality of the work. But after I learned more about the artist in question, as well as some other people's comments, I came to understand that this image wasn't compatible with my server's rules, and it was removed. So yeah, that's what was happening with the image in the top right. The artist said he was drawing stuff that was not workplace savvy outside of the server, and Elgato got mad that I didn't immediately ban him for that. Keep in mind, I don't know what kinds of drawings he's making outside of the server at this time. I don't know what the hell this Mari drawing is if it's supposed to help me infer what else he could be making. I can't use it to come to more conclusions. I just have to accept that Elgato knows it's problematic enough to terminate a random dude from my Discord. There's also a post in the top left where one of my patrons says she's 16, but he's not referring to Mari. He's referring to a GIF that Elgato conveniently left out of the screenshot, Star, from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Love that show. Great ending. So at this time, I don't know Mari's age, I don't know what this drawing is supposed to mean, but I do know what NTR is. As you can tell from the image in the bottom right, the person in question starts to bring up NTR. Don't ask what that is. Suffice to say, things got pretty sus, and so I removed this user from the server. Of course, Gato pretended this was because of his expose and not just the user breaking the rules on their own, but it is what it is. We'd be here all day if we laughed at everything he posted, so I'll just give you a couple of my favorites. The best post from Elgato by far has to be this one, where he brags about getting into people's heads, living inside minds rent-free. That's just hilarious since a giant chunk of his online footprint is him melting over the idea that people follow accounts he doesn't care for. Even though the people in question might not even know everything that person has ever drawn, the rapid sense of trying to serve justice makes me think he's an actor from a Darman skit. My second favorite post from him has to be this one, where he brags about gaslighting people into being friends on one account, while quote-unquote exposing them on his Elgato account. And you know what? That terrifies me. I guess we'll never find out who his main account is, leaving us all to live in constant fear over whether any one thing we've said will be spun out of proportion on Twitter. Truly off. Oh, wait, no, we found him. It's this guy. Staruri and her friends put their heads together a while ago and found several reasons why it would be this account that's Elgato. Elgato was acting on information that was only available on Staruri's server, and OMORI was in that server. Elgato was posting screenshots of the OMORI thread in my server, and of the less than 1% of people in my server that were in that thread, OMORI was one of them. We know that this is Elgato's main account. An artist I've spoken to and one of their friends suspected this fellow to be Elgato a while ago because he had overlapping servers and expressed some of the same opinions Elgato had and in the same writing style. There's even this screenshot posted where Elgato brags about having another problematic account in his sites, but in the image he very clearly blotted out certain key factors of the screenshot because it was likely captured while he was on his main account. Another community member I know decided to run some tests. He had a pretty good idea of who it was in the screenshot, so he went to the suspected main account that Elgato has and replicated exactly who they were following to see if the proportions of his blurred screenshot matched up with Elgato's. Lo and behold, it was a match. They also talk in very similar ways across Twitter, but all of that doesn't even really matter now because he's gone on to basically admit that it's him. In this post calling out my shipping video, which we'll get to, OMORI can be seen in the comments talking exactly like he always does towards the OMORI community members he hates, using cliched anime-style dialogue accompanied with GIFs and images from whatever franchise he's obsessed with at the time. In this case, it seems he's moved on from Scott Pilgrim to Persona 3. He even goes as far as to say I almost drove him to unalive himself. There's no angle he won't stoop to. Not only is he pretending to have almost unalived himself in this thread, even though he's the one who caused all the harassment, he even had the audacity to say something that really pissed me off. He implied I was scared of people who don't agree with what they were born as. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. Let's go ahead and do just that. Let's pretend I am indeed scared of this group of people who carry themselves this way. So my plan as a content creator who wants to grow, that is scared of these people, is to cultivate a fan base from games like Undertale, OMORI, and One Shot. You know, games that community definitely doesn't play. I'm even making a video on a game called In Stars and Time, a game that has pronouns in the character stats screen. Are you kidding me, Elgato? How? How did you think this would stick? What in the world were you huffing? But like my Patreon, no one was buying it. So alas, even Elgato must have sensed that this was a stupid thing to say because when I went to look for it again in this thread, he had deleted that comment. Whether it was because he felt it was unwarranted or because he didn't want to reveal that him and OMORI are the same person is anyone's guess. Like a mythic figure, Elgato goes by many names. Across Discord and Twitter, there's two other ones I know, Tucker, which he claims is his main, and OMORI, whom we just talked about. But OMORI is especially interesting because he vehemently denied him and Elgato were the same person, even when confronted about it despite it being very obvious, even going as far as to fake a conversation between his Elgato and OMORI accounts on Discord to make it seem like they were in fact two different people. I tried to offer this dude a way out of all of this months ago. I compiled some of the evidence in this video and sent it to him in an attempt to amicably settle this, but alas, I had received no response. In short, OMORI, Tucker, whatever you want to call him, thinks himself a person who does unorthodox things for the greater good by discouraging OMORI art not ideal for the workplace of certain characters, and how does he try to achieve that? By going after people who are completely removed from that space. To his credit, I did make a mistake, a big one that Elgato would no doubt exploit. I'll be addressing him before this video is over, but we still have much to cover. Months ago, I made the smartest decision of my entire YouTube career, and uploaded a video that wouldn't make anyone angry called OMORI Ship Tier List. When I made this, I thought the couples Sunny plus Hiro and Aubrey plus Mari both had a 2-year age gap, causing me to put them in the C tier. Turns out that is not the case, so a bunch of people who never watch my channel immediately commented, quickly coming to the fastest and most logical conclusion you can draw from someone who would put this all together. Can you guess what it is? Think about it. Got your answer? Let me spoil the surprise. Me, the person who uploaded it, must be a PDF file. This was shocking and unfortunate news, especially for me, because to my knowledge that isn't true. Thankfully, Twitter got a hold of this video on a couple of instances, and they had a much more level-headed approach. After all, it's more likely I made a mistake, right? Provided it wasn't. Announcing to your 20k plus subscribers that you're a PDF file is not a very good tactical decision anyway, and even then I don't think you can do that through a shipping tier list video, but whatever. Surely there's some mistake here, and that was the consensus that Twitter came to. I am of course joking. Twitter's view of me was just as bad as YouTube's, if not worse. We're talking about basal profile pics, ladies and gentlemen.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse, and it absolutely will not stop.
There were dozens of comments like this, people who were absolutely dumbfounded, terrified that the video was practically going to grow appendages, reach out, take their Hiro and OMORI plushies, and cram them together like The Rock in that skit from Family Guy. Virtually indistinguishable from the PDF greats, they'd have you believe I was writing this video between plane trips to the island. But alas, I am not that cool. I understand holding a character close to yourself and caring for them deeply, but the intensity I witnessed on both YouTube YouTube and Twitter bordered on dogmatic, like people were leaping at the chance to be the good guy. One of the comments in the video was of course made by Elgato, who surprisingly said that most of the ships were good. When Elgato's got the most level-headed take, you know it's bad. This incident made me realize a definite truth when it comes to some of the shipping subsection of Omori enjoyers. Almost all of them defaulted to assuming the worst. Why is that? Well, they aren't interested in finding actual groomers or dangerous people in the community and shoving them out. They are interested in playing some sort of technicality game where they can weaponize anything they dislike, and in this case it was a literal mistake, and turn it into a smear fest where they can hurt other people. Almost no one who had issues with the tier list asked for an explanation of some kind or assumed the best. It was all madness. A quote from me in my own comments section was shared through this post. I guess it was supposed to be damning? Let me read it out loud and you can come to your own conclusions. Context. I was talking to someone in the thread who was being ganged up on for their ship preferences. Quote, "Yay, I wouldn't engage. Anyone who's taking these ships this seriously won't take any defense you offer. It's kicking water uphill. No one who thinks your character is worse for the shipping of fictional characters will be worth the time." Unquote. Does me saying that mean that I absolutely love Sunny Mari? No. Does me saying this mean that I absolutely love Hero Kel? No. It means if someone sends me a DM saying boss door, someone you're following likes Sunflower and I think that ship is the big stinky poo-poo, so please don't talk to them, I'm gonna say no. It means if someone comes up to me and says boss door, someone on Twitter liked that image OMOCat made years ago of Mari in the nurse outfit, please unfollow them, I'm gonna say no. That's kind of the problem with Omori Twitter and I guess just online discourse in general. Every minute thing you do counts as you taking a stance on something. If you follow or like A, then surely it means you also endorse B, C, or maybe even D. If I am following an artist on Twitter, it is for their safe for work content. Me following OMOCat does not mean I don't think her old tweets were weird. Me liking Baki the Rock doesn't mean I vibe with all of the lollipop stuff the author likes on Twitter. But boss door, surely there are worse communities. The overcompensation and paranoia in the Omori fandom comes from a genuine place of wanting to protect minors and make sure they not only see content that isn't dangerous, but feel included and safe in this space. So perhaps we can give some leeway, even if it was a bit of an overcorrection. I understand the sentiment, but you are giving them far too much credit, because this crazy subsection of fans who jump at every chance to protect fictional people won't hesitate at a moment's notice to harass an actual minor en masse. On November 17th, 2023, an Asian artist by the name of Raspberry One Cake made a piece of fan art so supposedly vile that it would cause ripples throughout not one, but two communities. Predictably, one is Omori's, the other being, shield your ears, the coffin of Andy and Lele. Now, if you're watching this and you are offended by the coffin of Andy and Lele, that's totally fine. A lot of my friends don't like the game. Hell, I was offended by how little screen time the mom got. Raspberry One uploaded fan art for FemKel. It's what it sounds like, a female version of Kel. OMOCat drew a quick sketch of her a while back. Now, considering I brought up Andy and Lele, you're probably scared of what this drawing might be. After all, Kel's brother, Hiro, is a character. What in the far off, far away did Raspberry upload to incur the wrath of so many Omori fans? FemKel standing there, but in the coffin art style. It wasn't even one of those dumb memes where two characters who are siblings stand opposite each other and they're drawn like Andy and Lele. Just FemKel by herself. Do you dislike this drawing because it reminds you of the game it's emulating? Fair, but you must acknowledge that this isn't a drawing not ideal for the workplace. This isn't a drawing showing any vulgar acts, a real nothing burger if you ask me. I'd even go to bat for you. I'd wager, even if you're the biggest coffin opposer, you wouldn't attack the artist in question. You'd just move on. Still, as we've learned multiple times throughout this video, it doesn't take a lot to get the Omori community spurring. Can you leave Kel alone and not draw him in an art style from a game with, back then they used to exile you. You were just told to physically leave. Get away from Kel, you dirty. I hate this. Leave Kel out of the game that does nothing but normalize something that is literally illegal. Side tangent, but whenever someone uses the word normalize, I just tune out hard because I know whatever follows is gonna sound like something out of a Walmart HR department. Either way, Raspberry didn't draw anything that wasn't ideal for the workplace, but frustratingly enough, they apologized, something you should practically never do, especially to Omori crazies, even going as far as to say they did something horrible. As confirmed by this Discord message, Raspberry is herself a minor. To put this in perspective, When Kel, Sunny, Aubrey, or Hiro are in need of protecting, there is no force in this world powerful enough to stop Omori fans from dismantling the perpetrator. But when a minor that is actually walking and breathing on this planet makes a drawing they dislike, the ends will always justify the means. No amount of harassment, belittling, or online threats is deemed inappropriate because they have convinced themselves wholeheartedly that they are the good guys in their own stories. In this chapter, I'm going to talk about Elgato again because I feel like he is the extreme example of a lot of misguided Omori fans out there, and addressing him will conveniently tackle other areas of the fandom that need work as well. There will be a microscopic amount of people watching this who say that Elgato's intentions are well-meaning enough, even if he is overreaching and being irresponsible. He's simply trying to make people aware of who in the Omori community interacts with or draws that kind of art. So, hey, maybe we can let the presentation slide. He might not even know he's hurting anyone at the end of the day. To that I would say Elgato's not well-intentioned, he does know the harm he's causing, and he revels in it. The reasons I think this are because of the same screenshots I showed you earlier. He admits to being an awful person, he says that he's people's worst enemy, and he's so obviously getting off on all of it. If he thought Elgato was an account that conducted itself in a way that was for the good of everyone, why would he try so hard to deny that Elgato and OMORI are both his account? While we're at it, let me address some other potential criticisms for this video that will almost surely prop up, and for good reason. Boss Door. Elgato's social media reach isn't very large. Why respond to him at all? Just because an account is small doesn't mean they can't cause a lot of damage. Elgato's lies have cost me and Staruri a lot of stress and heartache, causing big shifts in each of our friend groups and who we're allowed to interact with. I've been called every name you can think of because of this guy, and I'm just trying to make videos, man. There was a streamer that expressed interest in covering Omori recently, and Star had genuine concern that they could end up getting a lot of flack. No one should be worried about stuff like this. 2. Boss Door. Elgato is almost certainly on the younger side. Is making a video like this really fair? I have taken his age into consideration and do think it's an important fact to keep in mind, but someone being younger doesn't automatically exempt them from any wrongdoing. These tweets were insanely malicious, and I am well within my right to put this behavior on blast to not only defend myself, but other Omori community members who have been subject to similar accusations by bad faith actors. But I guess that wouldn't have mattered anyway, because in this post by Elgato on Staruri's Discord, he tells everyone that he's an adult. You might also notice that he's saying he goes by she/her pronouns. This is just another attempt at manipulation. Halfway through all the drama months ago, Elgato decided to randomly declare that his pronouns were different now, in an attempt to make the footage we recorded exposing him look bad, like we were misgendering them. I've already shown you all the bad faith things he's done to make my credibility as a person seem lesser. This is just another example. For the next section of this video, I'm going to be addressing Elgato directly. I'll even be touching on some things he's done that I didn't have the time to include fully in this upload. Elgato, I know you're watching this. I need you to do yourself and everyone else a giant favor. Take both your hands off the keyboard and walk backwards away from this community, or any other online community, for a good long time. There is absolutely no place for you here. Your constant harassment of community members who do nothing but mind their own business does nothing to help people online stay safe. And even if you had all of your faculties in check, you would still not have the level of intelligence to conduct yourself as a vigilante effectively. You trying to go after Failsafe some months ago, even though he did nothing wrong, is proof enough of that. You bludgeoned Staruri out of the fandom to the point she's scared to even talk about the game, and in such a way that I'm straight up parasocial about this. Like, I'm more mad about what happened to Star than Star herself. I became a Staruri simp because of you. You harassed I Am an Omo Boy over the Moonatic account. You constantly put Toby on blast, and on top of all of that, you have been using alternate accounts to build some sort of messed up case file in Discord servers against anyone you don't like. Here's the Omori servers he's in that I could find. Tucker doesn't seem to be in any, and the Elgato Discord account seems to be inactive. Elgato, I'm obviously not your biggest fan, but never in a million years would I even think to go server to server and thread to thread pretending you were a PDF file, even though I know you aren't. Who the hell does that? Again, there's something very, very wrong here. Something you'll have to deal with. This is not normal. Despite everything I've covered, I'm going to try and forgive all of what you've done. Or at least, I'm going to try to forgive what I'm allowed to. A lot of the damage you've done is not connected with me after all. Go with God, Elgato, Tucker, OMORI, whatever the hell you want to be called. Be better or just go offline. preferably both. The drawings are a big source of concern for many Omori community members, but it's all that gets talked about.
Well, I'm sure most of you are already aware of the issue. Problematic ships.
Save for Fade's video on Remi where he touches on the subject, some of Serial Introvert's uploads, and some murmurings here and there, not enough people are talking about how this community grossly overreaches when reacting to things, grossly mischaracterizes people to make them into the thing they want to hate, and grossly throws real minors under the bus for the protection of fictional ones. Omori is a game I love, and no amount of bad faith attacks will take that from me. This game is mine, and it's also anyone else's who resonated with it so closely, trite as that sounds. I've made some amazing friends, seen awesome video essays, and thanks to all of you guys, been able to bring attention to some fan projects that most certainly deserved the exposure. There's a component to all of this that I'm still coming to terms with. Part of being a content creator is that lies about you are going to be online, and you have to roll with the punches, because responding to all of them will make you crazy. That's true. But when someone misinterprets you this deliberately and strongly, it's hard not to stand up in your own defense. I don't hold any ill will towards most of the people who have said terrible things about me in this video. They're gonna think what they think. Not everyone's gonna like everyone, and that's okay. It was just really important to me that I get this video out there. I hope I never have to make something like this again, but this was an almost year-long battle that was really eating me up. Thanks to Staruri and everyone else who helped me out with this. Expect more Omori videos very soon.